Yeah.
How come I missed him?
Papa mostly they were told to come early because of animations or what, and then I asked them to they talk to someone downstairs. They said no.
Mm.
So that's why I came to them.
But they going through this test
Yeah, they're going through it.
up to the end.
So isn't about two, and then one has 1 to 18 slides, and then one has 18 to 50 something.
Mm.
So I think you omunye lo omusha 18 uyosakwato.
Ndi lowest choose of no yes. Question.
Bakhona bonke.
So about when James Lace,
Mm.
I mean they've seen them before coming to play. What animation are they doing? But we don't know when no animation.
Ibu.
I use with children. Because then it's up. Different. You should be nothing else on post.
Grade 12 learners. Welcome to today's tourism lesson. My name is Evans Maponya. This lesson is brought to you by the Gauteng Department of Education in collaboration with Saibono Discovery Center. Today's topic, we're going to look at communication and customer care. Here are your lesson objectives. At the end of this lesson, you as grade 12 learners must be able to know and understand the following. You are expected to explain the concept customer feedback. You would be expected to explain in detail the purpose of obtaining customer feedback. You will be also expected to list or name the different ways in which customer feedback can be collected or obtained, and also explain how each can be analyzed. As we move further with the lesson objectives, you also need to understand the advantages and disadvantages of every feedback method. So it tells us that we are going to look at different feedback methods in this lesson. You are also required to understand and explain the step-by-step process of how customer feedback can be analyzed, can be scrutinized. You also need to understand and explain what impact poor or excellent service delivery has on profitability of a tourism business. So we're going to also look into the advantages and disadvantages of obtaining a customer feedback and how it affects the profits in a business that is tourism related. Now let's look where you will come across this topic in as far as formal assessment is concerned. This topic is assessed in section E, that is your question 10, and also in section A, question 1. So this is sections of the question paper where you will be assessed on this topic, communication and customer care. So you'll come across questions based on this topic in a control test, in skills assessment task, in the PET that you just wrote or completed this afternoon, in the preliminary examination, as well as in the final examination. That's where the topic under discussion today will be assessed. Now, let's look at the concept of customer care as to what it entails, as to what it means. We are here to learn more about the concept itself. Customer care refers to information provided by customers or clients about their experience with a product or service. Remember, in tourism, we are not necessarily selling a tangible product. Some of the products are intangible and come in the form of a service. So hence here you are referred to products which are goods and services which reflect your experience of stay, your experience of visiting a particular business undertaking to buy goods and services. So, in respect of tourism, service is not necessarily something that you can see, but it manifests itself in different forms. And your satisfaction as a customer is the focal point. So here we want to get information that you provide to a business as a client about your particular experiences with the product or services. It is also an information provided by clients about whether or not they are satisfied, dissatisfied with the product or services, and about the general experience they had with the company. As we further explain the concept of customer care, one would say the opinion is a resource for improving customer experience, or whatever input that the customers are giving. It's a very important resource for a business to learn about the experience of a customer and adjust the staff company's actions to their needs. So we get different opinions, different facts about what the customers have experienced in quest for products and services, whether it's a good experience or a bad experience. And from that opinion, from that information that a company has collected, they are able to adjust their staff, to adjust the mission and visions of the company, the actions to the needs of the company. The purpose of customer feedback, as explained here, is to reveal the customer's level of satisfaction with the product or service and helps the tourism business to understand where there is a need for improvement. So, customer feedback is a tool that provides information to the business indicating whether customers or clients are satisfied with the products or services they have received, and that will help the business to understand where they need to improve their service levels. Another purpose is to know where and how to improve on customer service delivery. As you can see here, the most important party here that must be addressed in terms of their needs and wants are the customers. So it is very important for companies to look where they are lacking so that they can improve service delivery. So that is one other purpose, one other function of customer feedback. It is also used for complaints, or complaints are used as basis or opportunity for improvement. As much as we receive complaint from our customers, then that leaves room for businesses to improve in every aspect. It presents them with an opportunity to improve on their service levels. We also use customer feedback to get negative complaints, to get negative feedback. So what do we do with negative feedback? Businesses will use or will process those complaints or negative feedback to improve their services to clients. Customer feedback also helps the business to know what they are doing right, that is the positive feedback, and know where they are going wrong. It also helps to find your business niche market. So with customer feedback, you are able to establish where your client base is, where you get your customers from, a niche market. So you are able to know which customers are bringing you adequate or enough profit. And after having such information, you will be able to look after or to make means to keep such niche markets. It also helps businesses to keep a competitive advantage. So to compete with other businesses or to compete at the level of other businesses providing the same products and services, you rely on customer feedback that will help you to compete with other businesses of your kind. Another purpose of customer feedback, it helps businesses by adapting or help businesses to adapt its products and services to suit the changing customer needs. So the needs of customers are not stable, they are dynamic, and they change with time. So to adapt to that kind of environment, to that kind of situation, customer feedback, it's fundamental, it is crucial, it is important for every business establishment. Customer feedback also will result in retaining or in helping the business to retain existing customers. So it helps businesses to keep the existing customers or the customers that they have. It also lastly helps the business to know how to attract new and more customers. All these aspects that we have looked into summarize the purpose of customer feedback. The list is long, but here you have been provided with the main aspects that explains the importance of customer feedback. On this slide, you'll know the methods that will help businesses to obtain or to get customer feedback. So here are your methods as listed. You'd have surveys. We will further elaborate on this method in the next slides as we proceed with our discussion of customer feedback. They also use questionnaires, feedback cards, follow-up calls, SMS messages, as well as web-based responses. Now, let's examine the first one, which we said it's a survey. What is a survey, or how would you explain a survey if you are required to in one of the assessments that we have alluded to in the beginning of this lesson? A survey refers to the measurement procedure that involves asking questions from respondents. It's a measurement procedure that involves asking questions of respondents. So this involves asking customers after receiving services or products if they are happy or not. That it's conducted through a method of, say, survey. Here are examples of surveys. Number one, from this slide, you'd have companies use surveys to get feedback from the customers, for example, in hotels and restaurants. So the food and beverage sector, as well as the accommodation sector, will, to some extent, rely on surveys to get customer satisfaction. And this is predominantly used by hotels and restaurants. The next one, the customers can comment to the quality of service and standards of the facility. So in a situation whereby you have booked a room, a hotel, a conference hall, you are allowed to provide feedback with regard to the service and standards of that particular facility. The next one, the surveys ask customers to rate their service on a scale, for example, 1 to 10. Words can either be used or symbols. Symbol in your everyday use from your social media, you'd use emojis, you'll use signs to express your level of satisfaction. If you are not happy, you know all those emojis that are used. If it makes you cry, they'll provide an emoji showing some tears. And if you like it, you'd be able to express the feeling. As we examine the next one, many customers do not like to complete them even if it is quick. So some of the customers are looking at the time spent, especially when completing a survey. Even if they are short, they don't have the luxury of time to go through the questions and respond to them as truly as possible. Sometimes customers get an incentive to fill in the form. So customers get rewarded so that they provide their experience of a particular service and product. Personal and detailed high response rate. And lastly, one of the symbols that can be used to obtain customer feedback is when they've used a symbol of $1, and that is an indication that the price was too high, or the services they've paid for, it's quite expensive. Other than a survey, a questionnaire can be used. So what is this questionnaire, or what does a questionnaire entails? It is a type of a series of questions and other prompts for the purpose of gathering information from respondents. As the name explains, questionnaire, it's derived from the word question. So it's a type of series of questions and other prompts for the purpose of gathering information from the customers. Respondents here refers to people who answer questions, and the targeted group here for businesses are the customers. Here is an example of a questionnaire, and this is part 1 of 3, where the personal details are needed as well as the date. So the customer satisfaction questionnaire must indicate information such as the logo, as you can see here, which identifies the business. Can you see the safety levels that the business provide? The ISO number. The customer satisfaction questionnaire would also, to some extent, provide the mission and the vision of the company, as the whole paragraph here on top expresses. So they would explain that what their organization stands for and what they want to achieve. If we are to read this one, we would say it is an effort, or our organization, in its effort to constantly improve its service, has decided to adopt a quality management system. We would therefore like to ask you to contribute to our effort by stating your comments or remarks. Your constructive criticism should be a useful guide. I have alluded to the firm, the name of organization, the address, and though not compulsory, you'll indicate your name as a customer or as a respondent and the position. Typical questions that are asked in a questionnaire, in a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being very poor service level, and 5 being superior or excellently satisfied with the products or services that you have received. These are some examples of questions. The swiftness in delivering the agreed material. So you'll use the ratings of 1 to 5. Questions such as the quality of material, the quality of the financial data. You'll be asked questions that relates to Is the product responding to your needs? Also, you'll be referred to quality of cooperation with our staff. So the relationship that you have with the staff, was it a good relationship, or you were helped in a way that you'd be satisfied as you leave the doors of a business? Behavior of the research committee staff. So these are some of the questions that you'll come across in a questionnaire. Another typical example of a questionnaire is when you are asked to respond to a yes or no, and where necessary, you need to give your remarks. This speaks to, for example, delay in deliverables, the time taken to assist you, the errors in the financial data, were there any mistake with regard to the quotations that you received as opposed to the price that the product was sold? Were there insufficient technical or economical reports that you need to answer by yes or no? The lack of information that you will have to answer by yes or no, and where possible, expatiate, give a reason why you say yes or no on the side. It also asks customers to give a number of incidents related to that in the last column. The number, how many times was that service not excellently delivered? You need to provide such information, and that assist business to improve the customer satisfaction level, as well as to keep the existing client. As we move further with a questionnaire, we said it is a set of printed questions worked out for a survey or statistical study. It can be posted or emailed. So it's not only printed, but you can complete this survey online. Questionnaires are longer than surveys. So with questionnaires, you'll get different, so many questions asked. And that helps you to compare or to distinguish a questionnaire from a survey. The first distinction is that a questionnaire is a long piece of writing that will take you a while to complete, whereas a survey takes just a few minutes. Few basic questions are asked. The questions can be opened, write your own response, or closed into a yes or no. If we say questions are open, they would ask you a question and you are not restricted. You are not prevented from expressing your inner thoughts about the products and services. But if they are closed, you are channeled into only a yes or no. But at the same wavelength, both types of questionnaire provide feedback to the business establishment. Questionnaires should be well organized and professional. So because a business aims to make profit, so the professional aspect of that business must be taken into consideration. So to attract clients, to attract customers into completing the questionnaire, it should be structured in a way that is, or that it looks professional, it is eye-catching, to encourage people to complete, or customers to complete the questionnaire. Personal, not face-to-face, thus people will respond. So if it's not face-to-face, people are not intimidated to express their true inner feeling about the product or service. So that's where you get very authentic, very credible, or accurate information about the services and products, because a questionnaire is completed in a non-face-to-face encounter with the client. It can also be hurried answers, and people do not always tell the truth. I have initially explained that many people or many customers do not have time to sit and complete as truly as possible the questionnaire. So they would rush into questions, and in that instant, the business may not get the desired truth or responses. Another method of obtaining feedback, other than a survey and a questionnaire, would be feedback cards. The feedback cards are also known as comment cards. They are used to collect information from customers. They are completed on site. So it also tells us that feedback cards, you are not confronted with a lot of information to work with. Just few details are asked from the customer about the service level, and the card size, as you might be aware of, will not have a lot of information. So this it's one of the advantages of using feedback cards, because few basic questions are asked, and customers would prefer this method. I'm not indicating that other methods are bad, but this one, it's a sharpshoot one, it's a quick one to complete. It is in the interest of time of the customer. So it's one of the methods preferred by companies to attain feedback. Here is an example of a feedback card. It must reflect the name of the business or the service provider, the service that was given, or the product that was sold, the date as well as the time. So you'd have to answer questions in relation to professionalism. Was the product or service rendered to you as a customer professionally? Are you satisfied on how your request for service was served? Was it professionally dished out? The attitude, this looks into aspects such as friendliness, where the salesperson's friendly to you. Did you feel welcome? Also look at the issue of attentiveness. Were you not left alone? Or were you attended to before you can even ask? Where you ask questions such as, how can we help you? The efficiency, how was the service delivered to you? And the environment. The environment speaks to the place, the cleanliness, the services and product served in a clean environment, in an inviting environment, and you are also asked to express your overall experience. And if you have further comments, you are still allowed to comment further. If the service level is not catered for in the aspects mentioned, that of professionalism, the attitude, effectiveness, and so forth. You are also required to provide or to advise on the actions that or steps that needs to be taken. So you are confined to the ones that are listed at the bottom. Return soon if you are not happy with the product. A big tip, also praise to the manager. So those are some of the positive and negative things that you can recommend to the business. Feedback cards. Customer satisfaction can be expressed in an emoji. I have alluded to when we looked into surveys as a method of feedback. So it repeats itself here. Customer satisfaction card is a survey with some questions about customer to establish a profile for them. It is a question and answer session about or aimed at establishing a profile of a customer or our customer base. It is most commonly used. It is comment cards that obtain feedback but do not contain many questions. I have spoken to this aspect that very few basic questions are asked. The customer can complete it at the company and express their opinion, usually to discover the complaints. For example, hotels, airlines, car rental companies would use the feedback card. And the emojis below would express the customer service in terms of the rate of response. So if it's like this, it explains good customer feedback. And the next one, which more or less frowns, would express low response rate. Another method to obtain feedback, businesses can make follow-up calls after a service or a product has been rendered. It is used to get the level of a customer satisfaction. Follow-up calls are also used to get feedback from customers, also used to get suggestions for improvement, and usually it is recorded so that time and again the business will refer to the recorded version. As we further explain the follow-up calls, the companies use follow-up calls to contact their customers and ask their opinion of the service they have received. So after buying something from a shop, after some time, you get a courtesy call asking about your satisfaction. And this happens to a number of business undertaking. Say maybe you have just bought yourself a new car. After a few days, they will ask you, how does the car drives like? Are you happy? And stuff like that. Those are done by a way of making a phone call. Follow-up calls, staff must be polite, explain their purpose of call, and ask clear questions and wait for the customer to explain. So during the process of the call, the staff on call must be polite, must be friendly, must go further to explain the reason for their call and ask clear questions, not ambiguous ones, and wait for the customer to explain. Follow-up calls are usually recorded so that the owner of the company can listen to customer suggestion and do something about those suggestions to improve the service level. The follow-up calls must be fast, immediate, and they are seen as cheaper than other methods. So other methods would include the printing, where you'll want designers to design the survey or the questionnaire. So it is cost effective as opposed to other methods of getting feedback. People do not want to talk on the phone for long times. So the staff in question, the staff that do follow-up calls must design their conversation with the customer and keep it as possibly short as they can. Another way of obtaining feedback is through SMS messages. SMSs are messages on cell phones whereby customers are asked to rate the level of the product or service delivered by texting their feedback to the tourism company. I understand most of us are familiar with this kind of communication, kind of customer feedback. So most of the companies would prefer this method as well. Companies would use bulk SMS messages to ask their customers their rate of service. SMS messaging is a very effective way of feedback because Many of us do have or own a cell phone and can be reached through messages, and you don't need any data to receive a message. However, you would need to buy messages from the cell phone providers. More customers are using SMS messages to reply or complain. It is very fast and immediate, and sometimes it can have a low response rate. Another method of obtaining feedback is the web-based response. The web-based suggests that the response it's online, where customers complain, make suggestions about the product and services, and it is done by visiting the website, and you'll get prompts to follow a few steps. Web-based response, this is email sent to your customer and website that invite feedback from company's products and services. As I've indicated, it is conducted online. They can email their customers to comment on their experience at the company, or they can also encourage the customers to complete online surveys on the website. They can use platforms such as available on social medias such as Twitter, Facebook, also the tripadvisor.com. It is the world's largest travel advice website. Other customers can read the comments. Most of this electronic communication allow customers to remain anonymous. You can be anonymous, convenient, and businesses will get high response rate by not asking the personal details of the customers. The disadvantage of using this method is that it's expensive to have an internet connection. You know the price of data. Not everyone can afford, and that pose a threat to this kind of feedback method, because not everyone can afford to be online because of the expenses one would incur. Ways to analyze customer feedback. How do we go about to analyze what we have received from our customers? We've used our surveys, we've used our feedback cards, we've used our questionnaire. How then do we analyze the information that the customers have provided to us as business? What you need to do, or what businesses need to do, is to study the feedback, capture the feedback to determine the extent of the customer satisfaction, identify the most common complaints. So you'll group together the complaints that are the same or that are common, decide on the action plan. After realizing that we have so many or a lot of complaints are from or are in respect of the environment. If the environment is clean, they are not is not clean, they are not satisfied. Then you decide on how to keep your business clean to satisfy that need arising from the customer complaints. if they, most of the complaints are in respect of bad treatment or staff that is impolite, then you'll have to make means to address the problem with the staff. If necessary, you'll take them to the training to address the issue on customer care or to resolve the feedback that you have received from customers. The next step would be start the intervention process. And this is a summary of how to analyze the feedback. And what you need to take note of is the order in which this is presented. You may be asked to give steps that are involved in analyzing customer feedback. So in that regard, you may not start with the last one. Start the intervention process. So this last bullet must be preceded, or before it, you need to first study. You cannot start by intervening before you can study the nature of a complaint that you have received. So this should be arranged in this order. You must first study the feedback, identify the common complaints, then it is followed by decide on an action plan, and the last step should be where you'd start intervening, where you'd start addressing the problem presented with. So this slide further explains the steps that are involved and the order in which they must be executed. So you need to study and capture customer feedback data. Data here refers to an unprocessed information, the information that is raw and it needs to be processed. So you need to first capture that information and identify the most. So step number 2, you begin to process the information that you received. And step number 3, you make a decision around the complaint. And after deciding on what steps to do, you start the process. You execute your findings. So these are the 4 main steps that are involved when analyzing customer feedback. Grade 12. It is important also to assess the impact of service delivery on business profitability. How service delivery affects the business from making a profit. It's one other important fact that we need to always consider. Starting from the top, it says excellent service delivery will lead to satisfied customers. And satisfied customers will give positive word of mouth, will talk good about their experience. That is the positive word of mouth. And a positive word of mouth will attract other people who are not aware of the products and services the business is rendering. So we hear that good stuff, or if you want to get good service, go to such and such a business. It helps other people, other customers who were not aware of the business to now be aware. It also leads to customer loyalty. Customers who are satisfied become loyal to the business. So when they want a service of that nature or the same service, they will come back to you and forget about the rest of other businesses rendering the same services. And it will also lead to a repeat business. I have explained this aspect, meaning that there will be an increase in customers' expenditure. So if they are loyal to the business, if they repeat their business, then they will spend on the business and the business will make lots and lots of profit. It will lead to profitability. So it is not the actual product that is or service that is on sale, also the manner in which it is sold to the people can lead to good profit margins. Excellent service delivery. This is a further way to make you understand the impact of good service delivery. Satisfied customers, positive word of mouth, excellent service can attract new customers for the business. New customers will give or will further spread the positive word of mouth, and this will increase profitability. The cycle does not end. It's continuous. It is a cycle. It repeats over and over again. Now let's reflect on practice questions. It is not such a difficult topic for you to understand, but let's test our understanding based on these questions that are normally asked. In the beginning, I've indicated it's your question 10. As you can see here, the first question is 10.1. It gives you an indication that you'll come across this topic in question 10. Right. Tourism businesses, take note. If I have to look into the infographic that you are referred to, say study the infographic below and answer the questions that follow. Tourism business, take note. Numbers do not lie. Numbers do not lie. It's an everyday statement that when you do something, you need to give quantity. An analysis of customer service and experience reflected the findings below. To win a new customer is 6 to 7 times more expensive than to keep a current one. So that is what the first cut says. Loyal customers are worth up to 10 times as much as their first purchase. Number 3, 75% of customers will not purchase again after experiencing bad service. So you can look at the impact of the poor service delivery, that you run a risk of losing 75% of the client base. It takes 12 positive experience to make up to 1 negative one. So negative information spread quickly than the positive one. So as you operate a business, you must avoid the negative as possibly as one can. Bad service reaches more than twice as many ears as praise for good service. So this is what the infographic is all about. It, in short, explains the different service level and how they impact a business, whether good or positive. 10.1.1, that is the question. You are asked to explain why the findings above are important to tourism businesses. Why are the two reasons? Explain two reasons why the findings above are important to a tourism business. And here are your findings. We have run through them. The first one being 7 new customers. The customer is 6 to 7 times more expensive than to keep the current one. So with the first one, if we are to link to the answer, before we look into a whole set of answers, one has already deduced that to get new customers, it's 7 times expensive than to keep the old customers. What this explains is that a lot of money will have to be spent to attract new customers. Money would have to be channeled to the issues of marketing, which includes attractive packaging. You would need to pay for certain services, TV advertisement or broadcast of your products. That sounds more expensive. So it is cheaper to keep the existing customer than to find ways to get new ones. So it will be expensive for one to do advertising. So advertising costs are more expensive. So we'll further reflect on this as we look into possible answers that would come in the next slides. 10.1.2, explain the meaning of the finding. It takes 12 positive experience to make up to 1 negative one. So in order for us to erase one negative statement, you'll need 12 positive ones. You'll need 12 good experiences to overcome one negative statement. So with this one also, we'll reflect yet again as we look into the marking guide that will follow. So here are the answers for the two questions. And if we get back to the questions, just to refresh your memories and to be able to link the answers to that. Question 10.1.1, explain two reasons why the findings above are important to the tourism business. And in responding to the question below, you would have 10.1.1, The findings are valuable to all tourism business to retain its customer base. The finding will show the company's weaknesses and serve as a guide for the business to develop its plan of action. And also, other possible answers would be the finding will show the company where it can improve its service level, and the finding will result in increased profitability. Those are answers given, and also examples that are indicated on the infograph are acceptable as answers, right? Like indicating to win new customers is 6 to 7 times. Loyal customers are worth up to 10 times as much as their first purchase. So all those can also be accepted. Those examples can be accepted. 10.1.2, explain the meaning of the finding. It takes 12 positive experience to make up for 1 negative one. And the answers to that would be, it means that it is much harder to win back a customer as it will take many attempts to do so. The attempts will place extra strain to the company's financial resources. I've suggested example, they will have to spend more on aspects such as advertising and marketing. Bad service can lead to a loss of customers. It will take time and effort to win back the customers. A negative experience may result in the spreading of negative word of mouth, which can cause the company of its reputation. So another practice questions derived from past question paper. Expressing question 10. 10.1, it says, give one reason why the owner of Bluefish Restaurant felt the need to conduct the survey above. The other one, the owner of Bluefish Restaurant introduced a cash incentive to his staff as a token of appreciation for good work. Refer to the survey result and identify the staff members who should receive cash incentive. Give 2 reasons for your answer in question 10.2 and 10.4. Recommend one strategy that can be included in the owner's action plan that will result in increase of visitors number and profitability for the restaurant. Now, let's get back to the survey results. As asked in the questions. It says, study the graph below and answer the questions that follow. Results of client satisfaction survey for the Bluefish Restaurant. So it says, the service levels have been categorized. Bill received with long waiting period, 24% responded to that. Or were complaining about that. The value for money meal, it's a positive here, 82%. The food was delicious, also it's at 85%. The food was attractive, 90%. Accept waiting time for food to arrive, acceptable waiting time for food to arrive at 85%. Menu offers a variety of dishes at 75%. Waiters knew the content of the menu. Staff was friendly and professional. The restaurant was clean and well maintained at 30%. Warm welcoming on arrival was at 25%. With the given information, you can see that there are some of the service level which are rated very low. For example, here you have waiters knew the content of the menu well, which is a disadvantage to the business as waiters are not in a position to advise. So the problem here is with the waiters, one category of the staff. The staff was friendly and professional. It's also rated at 38%, and this can do harm to the business. The restaurant was clean and well maintained, it's at 30%. So uncleanliness can also chase away customers. Warm welcoming on arrival is rated 25%, also can chase away potential customers. 10.1, it says, give one reason why the owner of the Bluefish restaurant felt the need to conduct the survey above. So as we look into the answer to that, the survey will help identify where and how he can improve his business and increase visitors number. That is for 2 marks. Also, the survey was conducted to get a benchmark for incentive for staff. And lastly, to get a sense of how customers regarded his business. And that answers question 10.1. 10.2, the owner of Bluefish restaurant introduced a cash incentive to his staff as a token of appreciation for good work. Refer to the survey result and identify staff members who should receive the cash incentive. Now, as we go back to the survey results, figures will tell you which of the employees would deserve that. But let's look at what the answers say. 10.2, it says chef and the team. Let's look how the chefs and the teams are rated. As we look into these results, you see the bill received without long wait. This does not involve the chefs. Value for money meal, it's a positive, involve the chefs. They are at 82%. The food was delicious. The chefs, this is the territory of the chefs as well, at 85%. Food presentation was attractive. It's also concerns the chefs. Acceptable waiting time for food, because they are the chefs that prefer this, and the team also it's rated high. It's mostly rated. Menu offers a variety of dishes. This is also a territory if they are able to cook and prepare variety of dishes. So the chef and the teams occupy the whole category of the positive. So if any of the staff members should be given incentives, will be the chef, as the answer or proposed answer suggests. Question 10.3. Give 2 reasons for your answer in question 10.2 for 4 marks. The 2 reasons are the ratings for the chef and the teams were the highest. The conduct and communication involving frontline staff received low ratings from customers. The cleanliness and the maintenance of the restaurant receive low ratings. The waiters do not take their work seriously. So this is how we should respond to question 10.3. Recommend one strategy that can be included in the owner's action plan that will result in an increase of visitors number and profitability for the restaurant. This is a high order question. You need to think very diverse. You need to be open-minded in thinking so that you answer this question correctly, where you have to recommend at least one strategy that can be included in the owner's action plan that will result in increase of visitors number and profitability for the restaurant. 10.4, one of the recommendation would be to retrain or upskill the frontline staff. So the upfront staff would include people like the waiters, the cleaners, who should be trained, who should be given skills on how best to improve in their service delivery. Managers to effectively manage control staff, so they must be closely supervised, the frontline staff in particular. Make the incentive package attractive to the staff, so they should reward always the job well done by any of their staff members. Make a supervisor's responsibility to control the cleanliness and maintenance of the restaurant, and also do everything in his power to create a memorable experience for guests. So those are responses to our questions or examples of questions that underlies our topic for today. Grade 12. In short, this is what communication and customer care involves. And like I've indicated in the beginning, it comes as question 10 in your final examination paper. And from this lesson, I hope you'll be in a position to answer any questions based on customer feedback, communication and customer care. With that said, we have come to the end of this lesson, and going forward, I hope you'll do better in the remaining formal assessments of the year. That is the data handling, the prelim examination, as well as the final examination. From me, I wish you all the best of luck as we prepare ourselves to the upcoming formal assessment task. Thank you so much. All the best.